What do you do with dollar yen right now?
Yeah, personally, I think this has less to do with the yen and more with the dollar. I mean, the dollar is in a downtrend. It has been really since right after the election. And I think it has more to do with U.S. fiscal policy and sort of the inflation prospects here versus other parts of the world where the cycles are a few years behind us. So I think this is really a dollar weakness story more than a yen strength story. But
so would you be shorting it?
I'm comfortable being underweight the dollar or dollar assets. Would I be selling the dollar here? I think it's less compelling than it was, for instance, a year ago, right after the election. I mean, the dollar was kind of, the consensus was overwhelming that the dollar was going to go up, and it's fallen, quite a bit. So at this point, I think it's still, I think the outlook is still down, but it's not as compelling as it was in the past.
So you're in,
but yeah.
Sorry, explain that outlook being down, because whether people were for or against the tax cuts, there was sort of a general consensus there would be an inflow of funds back in the United States, both because of the repatriation, also because of lower income tax rates, which would cause more investment in the United States. Shouldn't that be supporting the dollar?
Yeah, but it's not clear. So the cash that is trapped outside the U.S. and that's getting repatriated, it's not clear to me whether that is in other currencies or whether it's in dollars. So I don't know that that would change the dynamic for the currency exchange rate. So that's one thing that I think is quite unclear at this point. But if anything has a very powerful trending function, it tends to be currencies, and they tend to run for a while. So I think the trend is down. Global growth is pretty strong. It's synchronized, and that kind of gets facilitated by a weaker dollar as well. Yes, will companies maybe do more here rather than overseas at the margin? That could certainly boost the dollar. But generally, I think it's the fiscal story, it's the inflation story, and that's happening here before somewhere else.